What happens when you get rejected by the 3 different parts of you? Let me show you.
I met my husband when I was 15. He was safe, quiet, calm, an exact reflection of me. I didn't party nor get into trouble. I was, the good girl type. But I was also in the middle of chaos. My family was falling apart, so when I met him, he was exactly what I needed. Over time, I learned to love him. He wanted to get married young, but I kept saying no. Being the patient and good man that he was, he waited until I finally said yes at 25.
I wish I could say that my wedding day was the happiest day of my life, but secretly, I didn't want to get married. I never imagined myself doing the married life. But I was afraid to be alone, and my parents had just separated. I wanted to feel safe, so I latched on to anything that was stable. But after we got married, things changed.
In my opinion, it almost felt like the security of our marriage gave him permission to not work at the spark between us. I tried to keep it alive. I dove in and learned more about the things he liked, trying to surprise him in different ways, trying to create a variety of memories for us. I overgave and made the extra effort to please him, not realizing that I would get lost in everything about him. I tried to juggle all the traditional responsibilities and be the good supporting wife, trying to motivate him to reach his potential, making good impressions with his family to be liked, all the while trying to sort out the leftover pieces from the fallout of my own family.
I even asked him 3 different times to come to therapy with me, but all 3 times he said no. Over time, I didn't know who I was anymore. I allowed myself to be pulled in different directions, and I blamed him when it was really me not knowing how to set healthy boundaries. It didn't matter what I did. I realized I couldn't change him. I felt invisible, trapped, and married life chipped away at my spirit slowly, leaving me to feel lifeless. Now, for some people, married life is what works for them. For me, it was something I was forcing upon myself, trying to do whatever I could to make it fit. I mean, culturally, it was expected of me to marry if I wanted to leave home. A woman needs a man and children to feel complete, I was told. I already felt conflicted being the primary breadwinner in this marriage, indirectly rejecting myself and my success, and trying to maintain the social roles I thought I had to fall into. So why not leave? Maybe I didn't want to be a part of that statistic. Maybe I wanted to prove to my mother that she was wrong and that he was the one for me and that we would find a way through this. Maybe I wanted to hold on to the social image we had obtained that was given to us by both of our families, that we were the happy couple, the loyal servants to everyone around us who needed us. The idea of leaving or ending the marriage was not an option at this point in my life. I had made my bed and needed to lay in it. Then I met his friend. You see, even though I had a few girlfriends, I was never really a girlfriend type of friend. You know the stereotype. The kind that has a lot of girlfriends, could pick up the phone, gossip, go to the mall, and feel better shopping. Even though I did it to try to fit in, I found myself complaining too much, and I always felt more masculine. And really, deep down inside, I liked to keep to myself. It was hard for me to make friends growing up, and in fact, some of the few close friends that I did have were my husband's friends too. But this friend was different. When we talked, he actually listened and spoke back. He shared his thoughts and feelings, which was something I hadn't experienced much of. We were actually having conversations. To my surprise, he was also in a similar situation. So here we were, 2 married people reflecting our lives back to each other, feeling rejected by our partners, longing to have passion in our lives, but we were also too afraid to leave these commitments.
So when he proposed that we cross that line, I thought to myself, gosh, I've tried to do everything right up to this point in my life, and I'm so unhappy. Let this be the one wrong thing I do. So I said yes. I released control of my body in a way that I had never done before, exploring every physical inch in such a sensual way that I actually started to feel comfortable in my nakedness. But through this process, I also found myself getting lost in what he wanted to do and how he wanted to explore our bodies. He never forced anything, but because I wanted to be desired, I allowed it.
Fast forward 14 years, and this on-again, off-again intentional coping strategy was getting harder to manage. Mostly because I could no longer put on a happy face when this lover would go back to his family and I would go back home to my life. And after sleepless nights of crying, the thought of leaving my marriage accidentally slipped out of my mouth when I decided to be honest with my husband about my feelings. Unexpectedly, once I left my husband, I had to leave the affair as well. You see, I asked his friend to come with me, but he did not expect that I would leave my marriage, and he didn't want to rock his own boat at home. So here I was, with rejection number 2.
I remember the first night in my apartment. It felt like I could actually breathe. I felt so free. I was 39 years old and had never lived alone. I wanted to have all of the experiences I never had growing up. I didn't even remember what dating was like because all I had really known was my ex-husband. So I signed up for a dating app. I really wasn't looking for anything serious. I just wanted to keep this new feeling alive within me, and I wanted to share this feeling with someone.
Then I met him. There was such an innocence in our interactions, a youthful sweetness, and a feeling of home like I had known him my entire life. Looking into his eyes was looking at the depths of my soul. So I jumped in. Have you ever felt that way towards someone? It's such an incredible feeling in your heart. For the first time in my life, I had fallen head over heels in love. We were only seeing each other for 2 months and I couldn't hold it in anymore. My chest felt like it wanted to burst. And I had made the promise to myself after I left my marriage that I would never lie about my feelings again and that I would live an authentic life as best as I could.
But he was unavailable. You see, he was a business owner, and I found out that him jumping in with me was also a first. Work was all he'd known, and I was unexpected. And like many relationships, after the honeymoon phase, we had to return to the realities of life. But this intensifying emotion within me was new, and I had to get it out. I desperately tried to get a moment of his time, and after what felt like forever, but was probably really only a few days, he finally agreed to meet with me. I made him his favorite dinner: baked salmon, asparagus, quinoa, and a special treat for dessert, natural dates. I put on some heels, a flowery top, and red lipstick because I knew he liked it. I felt feminine. I had never felt so feminine in my entire life, and I wanted to be feminine for him.
So here I am, enjoying watching him eat and paying attention to his features. I smile. God, how much I love him. Finally, I say to him, I have something to tell you. He looks at me and I say those 3 words. I love you. He just stands there staring at me. He smiles a little and wraps his arms around me and says, thank you.
What? I'm dumbfounded. Here I am, confessing my heart and soul for the first time in my life, and all he has to say to me is thank you? I don't understand. But then again, I've never fallen in love before. I mean, who does that? Who in their right mind jumps in too quickly and falls in love for the first time in their life at nearly 40 years old?
My mind is trying to digest this information. It feels like there's a traffic jam between my head and my heart. I can hear the thumping getting louder and louder, drowning out the reality that I'm in as I pretend to understand what is happening.
Then the realization rushes in. I'm being rejected for the 3rd time in my life. I can't move. I can't breathe. I want the earth to open up and swallow me whole. When I finally come to, I go about it as if nothing is wrong, as if I understand completely. And a part of me did understand, really, but the other part of me, the vulnerable part, realized that I just wanted to find a way out. I finally mustered the words, I guess I'll see you when I see you, and I get into my car and drive away.
3 different people, 3 different parts of me. I learned how to love my ex-husband. I explored my body in ways that I had never done before with the affair. and I felt an intense love like no other with a complete stranger.
I later realized that had I stayed with him at that time, I would have lost myself in him too.
I understand why they were in my life. I accept the lessons they taught me. They were just being them, and I was just learning how to be me.
Head, body, heart. 3 different people, 3 different parts of me, 3 rejections, and all 3 pointed me in the direction that I needed to go towards. They led me back to myself. I decided to stop dating, and it took me 3 years to heal, 3 years to relearn, re-explore, and love the 3 different parts of me unconditionally. These men are a part of me because they each played a part in my becoming.
I realized that whenever I desire to be chosen by someone else, I indirectly give away my own power of choosing me first. My name is Yubi, and this is my transformed truth. Thank you for watching You Becoming Healed, where I model and teach you how to own and transform your truth for healing. Until next time.